Hi everybody, welcome to the Flavor and Adventure with the month of December, the Lawrenceburg Public Library. Thanks to the library and the friends for sponsoring our entire year of the Flavor and Adventure. Thanks to you for expressing interest in checking out your kits and watching the video. I'm Carisa Bunton, formerly from 7th Street Gifts and now a Spoonful of Jelly. And the flavor we chose for December, the finale, the final 12 out of 12, is chamomile flowers, and I am just an old girl from Kentucky who talks fast with an accent, so my whole life I've called it chamomile. So use those terms interchangeably, and when I start to talk about it, I'll oftentimes pronounce it that way, but the chamomile, the German flower, is what I'm referring to. So it's a very flavorful flower and aromatic, so just by opening this, and a little bit goes a long way. It's in the mint family. So it has similar traits and it grows very similarly too. It's very, very good for tummy aches, relaxing, and basically just like kind of after you overeat or overindulge, especially during the holidays, like extra cookies or desserts or really rich meats with your smoked salts. It's a really good after dinner like tummy tonic tea. And so it has gentle notes of apple, so it's very fruity. And it's with a mellow honey-like sweetness. So it's a tea too, or a tisane, a flower, that's flavor has its own sweetness and it doesn't really need a lot of extra sugar. You can certainly add a little, but it's generally sweet by itself. When you do sweeten it, instead of a traditional sugar or honey, it pairs really, really well with maple, like maple syrup, just a little bit of it. It brings out the flavor and enhances the apple notes. And then it also pairs really well with molasses. And I know a lot of us have molasses and it's kind of a forgotten ingredient, but it does really good as a tea sweetener. And the other really cool thing about molasses that I forgot about and just relearned, and now I'm kind of hooked on it, is it has a really high iron content. So if you're anemic and your iron runs low, or you're a woman and you have times of the month where your iron's low for obvious reasons, molasses contains 1 tablespoon, almost 20% of a daily serving of iron, which is a lot. So if you added molasses as a sweetener, you would also get the benefits of iron, which is pretty cool. Again, it has very floral sweetness and it's good for all. So it's caffeine free. It's really good for little kids, children, like an after dinner tea, or if you're a person that doesn't want to drink like a caffeinated drink and then be kept up at night, or like a stimulant. It's a really good safe drink for that. My little kids, even little toddlers, can have small little cups of it, and it's perfectly good for them. The chamomile jelly, that I'm going to take your big jar home and then bag everybody up their ounce, so you have your own dry ounce from this jar, and then I'm going to make our jellies for December, is going to be really, really good for toast and like a tea spread. So it's going to be kind of designed to have like as a tea time spread, or like with a biscotti or a biscuit. And the ingredients are super simple, just like the other jellies or glazes we've had earlier in the year. Water and chamomile, so basically I made a tea or a tisane of the two. Sugar, lemon juice, and pectin. And so it's also a vegan plant-based jelly, so it doesn't have the typical gelatin in it if you want to introduce it to somebody who doesn't like an animal protein. Again, it's got a really gentle, kind, sweet, honey-like floral flavor. And it's very, very good for digestion. I really can't stress it enough. There's the one trick to our chamomile, after I've been bragging on how sweet and florally it is with its flavor notes, is it needs a very short steep time. So I would even say 2 to 3 minutes, and you'll be able to smell the aroma right away, and it gets like a pale golden yellow color. You'll be able to see through it. It's transparent. But if you let it steep longer than 5 minutes, it can become bitter really quickly. So it's got a very fast turning point. So it's also one that you wouldn't like put your tea bag in a big pot and then let sit while you brew it and drink it and add water to it. You would want to brew it, let it steep, and then pull your botanical, your herb out of the pot and let it rest so it didn't turn bitter on you. It's also a simple base for many other tea blends. So a lot of like the Sleepy Time blends or the Celestial Seasons that you see that are like flavors, they almost all have chamomile in them as like a base. And then you can blend and add other citrus notes, flavors, even black and green teas into the chamomile. So if you still have tea left from last year or even some flavors from earlier in the year, like other flowers like roses or jasmines and things, it blends really well. Chamomile's kind of like a base, sort of like a flower in a batter or a cake mix, and then you add the other things to it. And then a lot of you probably already know this, but it's super easy to grow. The little seeds are like black little pepper flakes. You buy an envelope of them and you get like, I don't know, 500 of them or something, and it looks like you've spilled your pepper shaker on your table. And they like rock gardens. They get in between like really inhospitable places to grow. They don't mind the clay soil. They're dry, and they'll kind of like fill in and become like a little rock garden in between flowering plant. So if you ever see the seeds, they're usually pretty inexpensive, or sometimes like even the nursery or good old Lowe's in the spring will have like a chamomile plant. Buy one because they grow really well around here, and they're not technically a perennial, but the little flower heads, if you let them go to seed and you don't harvest them like this time, what you're going to get in your tea, they reseed themselves, so they're a self-seeding annual. And I've seen parking lots and little rock gardens and places, even up in the city between the sidewalk cracks and stuff, where this stuff is just prolific. So it's definitely worth sprinkling a handful of it down, because if you grow it, you can harvest your own and enjoy it. So in conclusion, for the year 2024, boy, it's gone fast. The Flavor Adventure with myself, Carissa, and the Lawrenceburg Public Library. December is the wonderful flower chamomile, or chamomile if you say it like I do. And you're going to get an ounce of the flower heads, German chamomile flower heads, certified organic, all whole, intact, from Frontier Natural Food Co-op. And then I'm going to take this jar back with me today and make our jelly up nice and fresh for the first week of December. I'll drop it off here at the library for you. And thanks again to you, everybody, the patrons, Lawrenceburg. It has been a really high honor and pleasure to do the Year of Flavor, and I wish everybody the best. Thanks a lot.